we're here, Steamboat kids. We are having a blast at our block party all month long. And I think this party has really grown our friendship. Remember what friendship is? Friendship is using your words and actions to show others that you care. Sometimes it can be hard to show friendship with our actions, like when we need to forgive someone. We'll actually be talking about forgiveness in today's Bible story and see what we can do with friendship. But for now, let's tune into what Kyle and Ryle are doing.
Ow! What are you doing?
I need move.
Get out! Stop it!
Wow, Kyle and Ryle need to learn to forgive. I bet our Bible story will help. Today, I've got a great story for you that comes from the Bible in the book of John. This story is about Jesus and his buddy Peter. Jesus and Peter were good friends. In fact, Peter was one of Jesus' 12 disciples. But unfortunately, something happened that could have been a problem in their friendship. Raise your hand if a friend has ever done something that hurt your feelings. Raise your hand if you've ever been the one to hurt your friend's feelings. We don't always mean to, but unfortunately, we can hurt the people who are closest to us. We might say something that we wish we hadn't said. We might think about what we want instead of thinking about what our friend might need. In any relationship, there are lots of ways that our hearts can get hurt. Let's dive into today's story and see what could have been a problem in Jesus and Peter's relationship.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of John, chapter 21, verses 1 through 19.
Peter hauled in the knotted net yet again as the first light of dawn gleamed in the eastern sky.
Empty. Not a single fish all night.
Thomas shook his head.
I doubt we'll catch a thing before it's time to take the boat in.
John studied Peter thoughtfully.
Peter, you didn't really want to catch fish anyway, did you? You just wanted to get out in the boat and do something normal.
Peter shrugged, but he knew John was right. Over the past few weeks and months, everything in his life had turned upside down. First, Peter had shown the courage to speak the truth about his friend Jesus.
You are the Christ. You are the Son of the living God.
Many people wanted to make Jesus king, even though the religious leaders hated him. The day before Jesus was killed, Peter had promised Jesus that he would follow him anywhere, and even give up his life for Jesus. But that very evening, Jesus was arrested. Peter was so scared he told 3 different people he wasn't Jesus' friend.
I don't know that man.
Peter felt sick about what he'd done, especially when Jesus was nailed to the cross and died. But then he returned to life. He appeared to his friends. It was amazing, incredible. Everyone was excited beyond belief. Except Peter must have wondered.
Is Jesus mad at me? Am I still his friend? Does he still love me?
Now Peter found himself in the boat, trying to figure it all out. His fingers tightened on the wet rope as he prepared to cast the net one more time. As he glanced over on the shoreline, he saw a figure standing there.
Friends, don't you have any fish?
Nope, not one.
Throw your net on the right side of the boat. There you will find some fish.
The 7 disciples in the boat exchanged glances as Thomas laughed.
I seriously doubt it.
You guys have anything better to do? Let's give it a try.
Together, the men heaved the heavy wet net back into the sea on the other side.
Hey, I think we've got something.
Bring it on in. There's 1 fish.
2 fish.
A red fish. Ugh.
A blue fish. And another one. And another 10. Whoa! Need some help here.
The net was so full of fish, they couldn't haul it into the boat. They began towing it to shore. John gaped at the man still standing on the beach.
It's the Lord.
Excitement raced through Peter's veins. He was about to see Jesus again. But just as quickly, guilt gnawed at his stomach. Facing Jesus meant he had to face how he denied knowing Jesus.
But it's Jesus. I've got to see him no matter what.
Grabbing his coat, Peter jumped out of the boat and into the water. He half ran and half waded to the beach when he discovered that Jesus started a small bonfire. Fish and bread were already toasting over the flames.
He's God's son and he's making breakfast for us.
Jesus smiled at Peter.
Bring some of the fish you have just caught.
Yes, Lord.
Peter ran back to the lapping water to help his friends haul their fish to shore.
153!
You counted?
Don't doubt it.
Jesus gestured to the disciples to join him around the fire.
Come and have breakfast.
As the disciples gathered, Jesus offered them bread to eat. John whispered to Peter,
This is what he did when we last ate together at the Passover meal.
When breakfast finished, the disciples rose to take care of their fish. Peter found himself walking beside Jesus. There were so many things he wanted to say, but he couldn't find the words.
Simon Peter, do you really love me more than these others do?
Peter swallowed hard. Surely Jesus knew what he felt.
Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.
Feed my lambs.
Peter remembered how Jesus would compare people to sheep in his stories.
Peter, do you really love me?
Lord, you know that I love you.
Take care of my sheep.
Sheep, people. Peter waited in his mind. Jesus must be telling Peter to take care of the people who had followed him.
Peter, do you love me?
Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you.
Feed my sheep.
Just as Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times, he now confirmed 3 times that he loved Jesus. What's more, Jesus wanted Peter to go out and share that love with others.
He's forgiven me, even after what I did.
Peter, things are going to get even more difficult for you. You are going to be led places you do not want to go.
Peter slowly nodded his head. He was willing to do anything Jesus asked of him.
Follow me.
Yes, Lord, I will.
Because Jesus had forgiven him, Peter was now free to share the love of God with those around him, without carrying around a heavy load of guilt.
When Jesus forgave Peter, he made sure that Peter knew they would always be friends. He didn't let Peter's mistake get in the way of their relationship. And sure enough, Peter went on to be one of the most important leaders in the early church. Forgiveness is an important part of friendship. There will be times that we mess up and hurt each other's feelings, but friends don't hold these things against each other. Friends are quick to say, I'm sorry, and our bottom line is, friends forgive one another. Let's see if Kyle and Ryle have figured out how to forgive each other and say sorry.
Hey, Ryle. Hi, Kyle. I'm sorry for before. I got these,
You hurt my arm.
and I broke your hat. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but here's a cooler hat.
It is pretty cool.
This one's cool. The crown, baby, fits you perfectly.
Yeah.
And one of these bad boys. You ever played with one of those?
I haven't.
You pop this right here, and
Hey.
you know what?
What?
It's ready to get the party started.
Kyle, I forgive you. Friends forever.
Wow, they did it! They forgave one another. This story just proves that Jesus was a fantastic friend. He didn't make Peter feel bad about what he had done. Instead, Jesus told Peter that he loved him and that he had great plans for Peter in his future. Jesus shows us something that's so important and that we need to do for each other. He shows us how to forgive. So do you remember our bottom line? Yes. Remember, friends forgive one another. All right, go ahead and say it with me. Ready? Friends forgive one another. Jesus is definitely the expert on forgiveness. When he died on the cross, he paid the price for our sins, the things that we have done wrong. Because he did that for us, we can ask God to forgive our sins. And we know for sure that he will do it. The truth is we will have a lot of opportunities to forgive our friends. And our friends will have a lot of opportunities to forgive us too. Any good friendship needs forgiveness. And remember, you need to be wise about forgiveness. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean you have to keep hanging out with the person that keeps hurting you. It's important to spend time with friends who will treat you right and will help you stay on the right track too. Forgiveness is a great way to treat others the way you want to be treated. After all, if you mess up, don't you want your friends to forgive you? Well, this week, let's practice being good friends by being quick to forgive. And we will see you next week, Steamboat kids.